lads, welcome back to the Peilcast podcast. Today we're just going to try a new segment. It might not be a regular thing. It could be every once in a few weeks, but it's going to be an idea called Save Your Club. So we're just going to be, it's like a director of football sort of role on and off the pitch. How you'd improve the team, how you'd make that push from, say, relegation zone to mid-table security, or try to break into the European place or even push on to the league. Today we're going to be starting with Shelbourne as their shite. So yeah, let's go. So basically, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be the role where Bill and Dave will pitch really towards me, and I'll make the judgment at the end to see who done better or what way I'd improve it, etc. I'll be the middleman, like the chairman sort of role.
Yeah, I'll come in first there, Jack. So basically, I've been tasked with the idea of fixing Shelbourne on the pitch. I feel as though you see regularly on Twitter or League of Ireland Twitter, you see regularly people like Dan McDonnell and the like saying that you have to have the big stadium and you have to have all this Tallaght Stadium looking great and all this kind of stuff on the telly, and it has to you have to have it looking aesthetically pleasing. But for me personally, I think the product on the pitch needs to look more aesthetically pleasing before you can look at the facilities and things like that. So what's on the pitch for me is more important. So I've gone basically with the idea of having bringing in 3 or 4 new signings to the Shells team to step them up from that kind of lower mid-table where they're safe. Let's be honest, they're not going down in 2022. But they could push on, sign a couple of new players just to improve them. So I'll start off with a defender, and I've cited out Shane Elworthy from Longford. I've kind of rated the first division a bit with these. So the idea behind bringing in Shane Elworthy is, first of all, he has Premier Division experience with Drogheda back in 2017. Right, it wasn't a great season, but it's the experience that matters in this kind of a situation. He'd come into Shells at the right wing back role, which would then release Shane Farrell, who's been Shells' best player this season by far. I think anybody will tell you that. He's fantastic going forward. He's good going back, but I think you could release him a bit more up the pitch if you brought in a wing back like Elworthy. And the thing about Shane Elworthy is, and I've known from watching him playing for Drogheda years ago, his biggest issue was always he found himself kind of caught between, is he a right wing back or is he a right back? But I think with the way Shells play at the moment, in the last few weeks, they play a proper back five where he'd nearly have that coverage from the right centre back, whoever's going in there, to come across. If they play a long switch ball, he's not going to get caught out by it because the centre half will be there to cover him. And then again, as I say, it just releases Shane Farrell up the pitch. It gives him an option it gives Damon Duff an option to get him further up and basically unleash your best player into the team and get him going forward a bit more, get him more involved with the attacking side of play, and he can conserve his energy then when it comes to the defensive side, because he'll have that back there. And to be honest with you, I think I'm not a fan of Sean Boyd as a striker. So see, the thing about it is, I put this stat out on Twitter the other day, and he's been playing for League of Ireland football for how long? And he's had one season in I think it's about 10 years, maybe less. I think it was actually about 8 years. He's had one season where he's scored more goals than he's been booked. And that season he played 6 games and scored 1 goal. So every other season, including this year, where he's got 11 yellow cards and in 24 games, as well as he's only got 7 goals. And playing as the main man up front, you just can't get booked that much because you just end up getting suspensions. I saw him playing against Drogheda last year. He got sent off for basically trying to punch the head off Gary Deegan. He's a very, very brave man to try and do that. But, I'd be looking at him thinking, there's improvements to be made there. So if you can get Shane Farrell further up the pitch, get him playing football, get him into the danger areas where Farrell will be dangerous getting on the ball and in that kind of inside right channel, rather than having him playing as a wing back. I just think it would suit Shells a bit more having him in there.
Yeah, I'm just going to on Shane Elworthy. He does play at Longford, yeah.
Yeah, he's with Longford, yeah.
Did he not lack a bit of pace, though? Or is that just me thinking that? I thought a few weeks ago he was a bit slow,
Yeah, he might do, yeah, but I just think from a defensive side, it just releases Farrell. I was more looking at, rather than looking at a quality right back to bring in, Elworthy would be cheap enough in terms of transfer fees from the first division. He wouldn't be looking for high wages. He's from the Dublin area. So it nearly suits all parties apart from Longford taking away their starting right back. And like it just again, it's mainly just to release Farrell from that right wing back position, because I think Farrell is a much better winger than he is a wing back. So for me, that's why I was looking at bringing in a right back like Shane Elworthy. Now, like there's probably better right backs out there, but for me, just from what I know, from what I've seen, from the research I've done, Elworthy will be cheap enough. He's easy enough to get in. He's still only, I think he's only about 24. And, you know, we come in and learn under, like, with the likes of Joey O'Brien there, who played in that role before himself. You know, it would be, I think it would be a good signing for him. What do you think, Jack?
Oh fuck, sorry, exactly. Yeah, I can see where you come from. But I don't know. I've seen fuck all of them, to be honest with you. And what I did see, like, I know,
Yeah.
I think Runner Houg's debut again, and Ryan O'Kane came on, and like they had him for toast. Like, I know they're obviously Premier Division players from Dundalk. There's a bit of a gap between Dundalk and Longford, but I don't know. Like, I just question. You're sticking with Damien Duff, like you're not changing nothing like that, no.
Oh, well, personally, I would, like, but I just, in this kind of situation, I'm looking at strictly on the pitch, like, what we're doing on the pitch. I'm not a fan of Duff. I never have been. Obviously, I know Bill is a big fan of him, but I just think, you know, Duff has come into the League of Ireland this year. You see Shells fans talking this week especially. I mean, this will date the episode a bit, but he's talking about he's not a badge kisser and all this kind of shit. Having a go at the Drogheda manager, Kevin Doherty, who's a Shells legend, and he's saying he's not a true Shells man or whatever. Like Duff, the reason why Doherty said that, like, let's just go off topic for a second. The reason why Doherty had a go with Duff is because Duff refused to shake his hand, and Duff was salty about that. He was salty about the fact that Drogheda beat them. He wasn't happy, and I mean, look, fuck it, we beat them 3-1. We deserved to beat them, and then he comes out after getting a draw against Bows, and he thinks he's, you know, Jose Mourinho or something. The way
he
he's
won the
talking.
league, yeah.
It's just, yeah, look, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth seeing something like that. Someone coming in, like, League of Ireland fans get a lot of criticism about not welcoming people into the league, but, like, you know, you look at the likes of, you know, Mark Bircham last year at Waterford. Everybody loved him. He was brilliant. Like, he was a great character in the league. He brought in a lot of good players into Waterford. He brought a nice style of play. I know they ended up going down, but, you know, like, that's the type of people like him who come in and they embrace the league and they enjoy the atmosphere and they just get involved in it. Like, the people like that will be always loved in this league. But the problem
even
with
like Filippo with Dundalk, like.
Yeah, exactly. He bit into the philosophy in the League of Ireland, and, you know, Duff has just come in. He's like, he talks about standards and he bats on about he didn't want to stay with the Irish setup because of the way things were. He wasn't happy with certain things that were going on. And then he comes in and gets rid of players. He gets rid of the Shell's best player over the last 3 years by calling him a fat boy. Like, that's for me, I'm looking at standard of man, and that's just awful. Like, you can't say that. So look, you know, that's going off topic a bit, but I'd personally get rid of him. But again, if Shells are happy to keep him, then I'm strictly looking at on the pitch. And for me, I think bringing in a right back, maybe not Shane Elworthy, he was just the name that came to mind when I was looking up. I just think that would kind of, again, as I say, just release Shane Farrell further up the pitch and, like, let him get more involved in the play. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah. So I suppose, hold on.
Yeah, no, just keep going.
Jack, did you say? Oh, whatever. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to look at this from more holistic levels. So when you look at the honest pitch matters, Shells have their 7th place in the league, 3 points off 5th for the game. So again, I think I made a wild prediction only 2 or 3 weeks ago. The Shells were dark horse of Europe. That is not going to come to fruition, I don't think. But what I think we have with Shelbourne and what their greatest asset is the history of Tulka Park, and to get that going, or to make sure that it's saved and it's redeveloped, and Duff. Now, as I said, I'm a massive fan of Duff. For he's contrarian and he's a bit of an ego, but I think that's why he's so successful in the game. And if you look at the way he went about his coaching, like you can't say he didn't do. People can't say he didn't do the hard yards because the spell in Shamrock Rovers under 15. I think he started with. Then getting it up there. He got Shamrock Rovers under 15, Republic of Ireland under 15, Shamrock
He
Rovers
has
under 17, first
the
team.
Celtic,
So
didn't he?
like he has a coach. So I think it remains to see whether he can be successful in Ireland. But I do for as a stand, I'm going to stick with Duff. What I would look at getting is pitching this and marketing Shelbourne, trying to distance them from the other team. So Shamrock Rovers, you have the money bags, the Manchester City, or you have past kind of the cup team. They've done well. Bows are the hipster's choice, 100% fan owned. But like, what does Shelbourne offer, and how can Shelbourne differentiate themselves in the pack? So I would be pitching Shelbourne as the footballing royalty team. So again, royal would have probably negative connotations for people, but like build a bridge. Would I'd get in the two players I look to get in for Shelbourne first would be Wes Houlihan. I think he's still doing the business at 40-41. And they've scored 25 goals in the league, which is the second lowest score. So I'd be looking at bringing back Aidan Keener from Sligo to try and solve the goal scoring problems.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in there about before I get. He's after signing a new contract out Sligo last week.
Anyway.
And yeah, Wes Houlihan. Wes Houlihan, I will agree. I missed the sense there because my fucking internet was down, but I heard a bit about Tulsa Park being royalty and all. Wes Houlihan, that'd be a great sign. I think that will. I think if he's going to come back to the league, it will be with them. Like,
yeah.
See, what my problem is when you look at League of Ireland, and even if you look at the historical top goal scorers, the top goal scorers in the League of Ireland don't score that many goals. Okay, Georgie Kelly a few years ago, who I'm not a fan of, that's another story. So, like, when you're looking at trying to find a player who scores goals in the league, it's very difficult. I might come closer to home, and pitch some things. There's a player coming through Cork City called Marco Mahoney, under 16, under 18 international. I think he has like 4 goals in 5 games. And I think the appeal of Duff, I think Shells will be a better position. I'm a Cork City fan, but Shells are going to be in a better position in Cork City to attract players next year. And the appeal of Duff, I'd be looking to bring in Marco Mahoney from Cork City to try and try and get the goal scorer. But now he's 18, and he's just turned 18 or 17 or 18, so it might be a bit early for him. But I think if you're good enough, you're old enough. So I'd try bringing in someone like Marco Mahoney from Cork City.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but I've never heard of him. But I'll take your word for it.
I'll bang up. There. I put up from there on Twitter. His goal scoring record right now for at underage of Ireland. I'm looking at here. 5 goals in 6 games for the under 17s, and three goals in 2 games for the under 18s, and he's been involved in the under 19s. So
yeah,
I think he's at most 18 months away from a big move to England. So if Shelbourne could throw a bit of money and the appeal of Duff, he might be prized away from Cork.
Yeah, Bill, but there's a big difference going in the 17s and playing League of Ireland football.
I saw him in training the other day. He just a pure goal scorer, and I think we've looked at, as I said, goal scorers don't really come out of League of Ireland, but if there's going to be one, I think he could be it.
I actually have a striker as well. Sorry, I thought we were going one at a time. But yeah, I've got a striker and a midfielder down here as well that I was looking at. So I was looking at a striker. I picked out Jordan Adiemo. I know it sounds like I'm literally just trying to raid Longford now, but it's Jordan Adiemo was at Drogheda the last few years. He was dubbed by Tim Clancy as the number 1 finisher in the club. Now his stats at Drogheda, he got 4 and 22 last season, but a lot of that was off the bench. A lot of that was coming back from injuries. I think he had his appendix out as well last season, so a lot of that was kind of coming on with 10-15 minutes to go. But all I can tell you is I've seen this kid play and he scores goals. He's a fantastic finisher. I think he's 22 now. He has 4 goals in 6 games since signing for Longford as well. obviously he went to Galway looking for full-time football, got 1 goal in 16, and that was obviously the Caulfield system didn't suit him. But I think Adiemo going into Shelbourne, I think he's a born finisher. You get him into the box, he'll score goals for you. It's that simple. If he's fit, he'll score goals, and I think he'd learn a lot I think he'd get a lot of service actually from the likes of, as I mentioned earlier on, Shane Farrell, Connor Kane, as well as a left wing back getting forward. You'd get him into the box a lot. They linked up well at Drogheda. I think Adiemo he's a great player. I think he's someone that he's very understated. A lot of people don't really look at. A lot of people don't talk about it really. I know the Longford fans love him now, but I think Jordan Adiemo will be a good signing for Shells at the moment. I think they, as Bill said, like the second worst attack in the league. So bringing in someone like Jordan, I think it would be someone that could improve that stat and get a few goals for them. And as Bill said, you don't really see high scorers in the League of Ireland. It's not something that we're prided on. Goals tend to get shared around in the league a bit. But I think if you get Adiemo firing all guns blazing, I think he'd be looking at a player that could hit the 20 mark in a full season.
Adiemo, I have to say, I have actually, he was playing Lloyd a few weeks ago and he looked very sharp. He did look good. It's just, I think the first touch was lacking sometimes from him. He just didn't get the breakthrough that he's looking for. But, I was looking at his stats there actually there, whatever you're talking about. It's impressive what he's doing. Obviously, you were saying with the injuries and all, it'd just be trying to, just make sure you're getting sorted out fitness-wise, before you rush him back in, sort of thing. Yeah, but I wouldn't be, too against it, really. Adiemo, personally, right, if I was going for a goal scorer, if I was looking for a striker in the league for them, I think, now this is a weird thing, Lonergan from UCD.
I was looking at him as well, yeah.
That's my go-to. My go-to would be him. I rate him. He's a good baller, man. He knows how to find the back of the net as well. Very good.
Again, another player with injury problems as well. It's sad to see the amount of top quality players that you're looking at saying these lads can score goals. They're always injured. I'm a fan of Lonergan. I remember I saw him recently. I can't remember who they were playing against, but I saw him recently playing. He looks good. His touch is there. His movement is there. He's got a bit of it about him. Yeah.
Speaking of injury-prone strikers at UCD, surely Colin Whelan comes into this question.
No.
If he's in a magic world where he's fit, I think he starts. I think he starts for any team in the League of Ireland apart from your Rovers, Dundalk, and Derry. I think he might do. He's a Dublin-based lad. He lives obviously living in Dublin, playing for UCD. So I think he'd be I think that wouldn't be a bad show.
I remember. I think he struggled at the beginning, the adjustment from first division to Premier Division, and he just started to score goals in the Premier Division when he burst his cruciate. So
he scored 2 against us.
Yeah, I think he did actually. Whelan's a good player. It's not often that you see UCD players getting called up to the 21. The fact that Whelan and Kerrigan got called up, I think it says it all. The two of them are fantastic players. I mean, look at Kerrigan over in Como now, doing well. I think he scored yesterday as well. So it's mad to think,
imagine how talented. Sorry, imagine how talented Liam Kerrigan is, and he's still only the second most talented Kerrigan in the family.
I know, yeah.
Okay, I knew it was going.
That's the weekly Sean Kerrigan reference there. But look, it's great to see him doing well over there. Obviously we hope to see Whelan back as soon as possible. Also, I actually went to UCD. Sorry, Bill, do you want to come in there?
I don't know what I was, but just on a point of as well, Johnny Kenny's gone on loan to Queen's Park. Surely Shells could have pitched to get him back into League Round.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a bad shout. He's a good player, Johnny Kenny, and he's what 19, 20. So that's another player that he's kind of lost in the ether over in Scotland. It's something that you look at and think, Shells need to, not just Shells, but all the League of Ireland clubs. We need to be looking more at these young Irish players over in England that are being fucked out on loan, and nearly you look at Jimmy Brown leaving Blackburn, to go to Stockport on loan. Surely Blackburn are looking at someone at a club over here and saying, you know what, we could send them. Like, we'd love to have him back at Drogheda. Like, we're playing Georgie Poynton and Luke Heaney as right backs this season. They're both more attacking players. So we'd love to have Jimmy Brown back for the season. And I don't understand why they don't look at the League of Ireland as a viable option. You look at how successful Sam Long and Sean Rowan's loan spell was at the start of the season for us. You know, I'm sure there's been other loan deals that I've seen players come over here that have done well, and like it's a possibility to play top flight football. If you go to the likes of your Rovers and your, you know, Dundalk, Derry, Pats, you know, you're getting European football there as well. Like, so I don't see why, you know, the Premier League clubs, higher Premier League or upper Championship, I don't see why they don't look at the League of Ireland as a viable option. Like, you look at Bowser after signing the two lads from Union Berlin, didn't they? So it's another market there that I think will be exploited.
Yeah. So just any more changes to make on the pitch?
Yeah, I've one more. I bring in Sean Brennan from UCD. That's what I was saying. I actually went to UCD for my last player, which was Sean Brennan. He's a holding midfielder. He adds a bit of guile in there. I know they have is it Coyle? Mark Coyle is it in the midfield for them, and A. Dervin. I think Sean Brennan and A. Dervin would be a great partnership in there. You know, Dervin fancies himself as a bit of a mouth and a bit of a, you know, he goes on as if he's a hard lad kind of thing. Now I'm not so sure, but I know Sean Brennan is. Like, I remember A. Dervin giving it the big one on a podcast a few months ago, saying like he's always mouthing off at the opposition and things like that. I remember Gary Deegan actually came in and goes, no, he doesn't. So it's funny to think, like, you know, I could just picture a world where A. Dervin is giving it the big one. You know, this young fella from Longford giving it the big one to, you know, your, you know, lesser known or younger midfielders, and then he comes up against Gary Deegan or you know, who's the, like a Chris Shields or sorts, where he just gets absolutely fucking upended because of the fact that he's mouthing off these older lads, just shuts his mouth kind of thing. But no, look, Dervin he has a bit of guile about him. I think Sean Brennan as well in there. He's only 21. He's played 19 for UCD this season. Doesn't score goals because he's an out-and-out holding midfielder, and I think he's just brilliant. I think, you know, he's one of these players. He just gets in the ball, keeps it simple, plays it out to the fullbacks, plays it into the 10, or plays it back to Sam Todd at centre half. And actually, you know, worth a mention, Sam Todd wouldn't be a bad signing for Shells either. You know, he's a big centre half. He's got a lot of experience for a 22-year-old. Scores goals from centre half as well, by the way, which is something that you don't really see a lot of these days. So, like, there's a lot of I think Sean Brennan will be a fantastic signing for any of the likes of Drogheda or UC or Drogheda Harps or Shells. I think he's a fantastic little player. Like, you just get him in there, he'll do a job for you. So that would be my last one. So it would be Jordan Adiemo, Sean Brennan, and Shane Elworthy would be the players I'd be looking at bringing in.
And so, yeah, on the topic of, so I said Houlihan I'd bring back, said a striker, either Colin Whelan or one of the Cork City boys. On the topic of a midfielder again, since we'll keep it on brand, I'll look at the previous players and the players who've gone through the academy stuff. I'm going to go back to Jamie Lennon, who's at St. Pat's. So he's been at St. Pat's. He's been at St. Pat's since 2017. Played over 100 games, been a captain for Ireland at under 21 level. But between 2009 and 2015, he spent his academy career, whatever, in the Shelbourne Academy. So I think if they could bring him back, he's a very good defensive midfielder player. He has a cracking shot on him, and I think he would help unlock. You know, if I was to bring back Houlihan, he's a bit more. He's not going to be a runner, so to have someone like Lenihan just behind him, I think would work well.
Yeah, but just coming in that, didn't Damien Duff say that Shelbourne do the best midfield in the league at the start of the season? So personally, look, I wouldn't be going near that.
The best midfield in the league. They got absolutely hammered by Drogheda in midfield the other week. Like, they couldn't get near Gary Deegan. Like, they were terrified of him. And then you look at it, like, Gary Deegan's 35, man. Like, and they couldn't get near him. They were terrified of him. And you look at it, like, we had who was playing? It was Darren Nugent was playing with Darrell Markey just in front of Deegan, and they just played it around, walked around them at times. Like I know what's his name? Is it Malloy? Malloy's a good player. I mean, is it Malloy?
I think, yeah, no, I do think there's a boy called Malloy, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. Like, I think
Gavin Malloy, it's Gavin Malloy, isn't it?
is it Gavin
Yeah.
Malloy? He scored
I think-
against us last week in the 3-1, and no, sorry, Jack Moylan. That's the
That was
one.
Moylan, that was Moylan.
Moylan,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Moylan. That's the one. Yeah, Moylan.
Moylan's
Yeah,
a
it
good
was
player.
Moylan and JJ Lunny were in midfield that day actually, and you're looking at it saying like, actually is A Dervin even playing for them? Like he's coming off the bench every now and then, so it's something I think Sean Brennan could bring the best out of Dervin, but having JJ Lunny in there, like what's he, and it is actually, it is Gavin Malloy. It was the midfielder. Sorry, Jack Moylan was playing as the striker in that game. Sorry, in the 10 behind Matty Smith and Sean Boyd. But it's just, I think, you look at it bringing in a centre midfielder is vital, I think, because I actually don't rate JJ Lunny at all. And I don't think Malloy is great either, like, to be honest. I think Jack Moylan is a very good player, though.
Maybe not for Shells now, but a player to watch out for in the future is Zaid Abata. He's been capped for Ireland at, I think it's under 17 level or 16 level. I watched him play for the Shamrock Rovers under 19s against Cork City there a week
What's
or so
his name?
ago. Zaid Abata. So it's like ZAYDABADA. He's
Yeah, that's
he's
saying
Irish
Alvin.
Algerian.
Oh, yeah. Did he come off?
Algerian,
No.
is he?
He's Irish Algerian. I think he's
Yeah,
born.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking up his.
He's
He was
18.
born in Jobstown there. Yeah, but like I watched him play against Cork City. He was like a metronome in midfield. He's just everywhere. Like he kind of resembled Michael Carrick. So I think he'd be a good player for Ireland at
Yeah,
underage level anyway in the coming seasons.
Yeah, there's
So-
always those little nuggets coming through, isn't there? What are you
Shamrock
gonna say, Jack?
Rovers, yeah.
So just going on, I just want to know, lads, do you have anything done for off the field? Would you go in any routes of maybe redevelopment of Tuca Park? Have you thought that far ahead, or maybe pushing through more through the academy? I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
But I think, personally, I think Talca Park is vital for Shells to survive. As much as I like the clown on Shells, I like the laugh at them and things like that for Talca being in the way it is. I know I can't really say much with United Park, but I think Talca is such a massive ground in terms of the League of Ireland and the history of the league. As Bill was saying, football royalty nearly. So Talca Park, it's one of those grounds where I love going there. I don't know what it is. Obviously, the food is been rated fairly highly by all the footy scan lads or scran or whatever you call it.
Yeah,
But like it's just something about Talca Park. Maybe it's because my dad's from Drumcondra, or maybe it's just the fact that I love football. Or I went to see United and Liverpool legends play there back in 2007. But it's just one of those grounds where just every time I'm there, it just feels like I'm at a proper League of Ireland ground. Like, and again, like I should say this as well. I feel the same when I go to Dalymount. I feel the same when I go to United Park or Oriel Park. Like they're all in shit, but they're proper League of Ireland grounds. So I think keeping Talca Park, getting it renovated, getting it fixed up properly, and actually, like the important thing here is like you can get it fixed up all you want. You have to keep it the way it's been built. Like if it's been built properly, you have to keep it that way. You can't just let it go to shit again. Like the way they just let that ground rot is actually embarrassing. And like if they're going to be given this brand new stadium that's going to be state of the art or all this kind of shit, they're going to have to look after it. You can't just pull out the Dalymount deal and have Talca Park there and just say, oh yeah, well we've a new ground. Let's just fucking leave it there and let it go to the shit. Like they have to look after it. And that's personally, I think if they've saved Talca Park, and look from a football purist point of view, I think it's vital to keep Shells afloat, because I think if they go to Dalymount, they'll just die. But I think it's very important to have Talca Park in the League of Ireland as well. I think it's it's such a big name in the league as well to have, and it's the history of it as well. Obviously, with the whole Shells having their European journey in 2003 or 4 and all this kind of stuff. So
I think it was, wasn't it? I think it was, and Dave Rogers scored this complete one.
Yeah, exactly. So all those kinds of things, like you need to have grounds like Talca Park in the league, and you can't have them falling apart. Like the absolute state of Talca Park at the moment, like it's depressing. Like it's depressing. It's absolutely depressing. Like the fact that they had that new stand built, about 15, 20 years ago, and it's already been derelict because it's not fit for purpose. Like it's just sad. Like it's bad to see, and I think Talca Park is a huge name, and it's a huge thing in League of Ireland to have. They used to host. I think they used to always host friendlies against the likes, in Liverpool in pre-season and things like that as well. So you used to always get it packed out and things. So it's something that I think we need to see preserved or improved. And it's the same with Dalymount, by the way. I think the two of them need to be fixed up and made better. But yeah, I think that's one thing anyway. We need to see off the pitch. We need to see Talca Park getting renovated.
I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here, right? So we've seen sorry, what was it point now? We've seen obviously big clubs move stadiums like City going from Main Road to the Etihad, Goodison Park obviously they're moving out. Obviously there are massive clubs. You look at the big clubs like Manchester City moving out and all. Like you don't have to keep it. Like even Arsenal from Highbury to Emirates. Look, like it does happen a lot bigger level. I know it's like the fans would turn or whatever, but like say if it up to Shelbourne and they'd share the stadium with Bows, think of the opportunities they could have for hosting European games at Category 2 level. I think the stadium was like, I know it's obviously you're sharing them with your rivals, but like think of the opportunities you have with say if they did move in, say if it was approved. If you get what I'm trying to say.
Come on, I think that's like really excuses because Talca Park has its history and it's its own stadium. I don't think if you ask teams to share stadiums, it's like historically it doesn't really work. So you see it in I think the Serie A with AC Milan and Inter Milan, but I think
you have it with Roma and Lazio as well.
You have.
I'm just saying it from that value. I want them to stay there. I'm just saying it from just throwing up another opinion.
Yeah, I was going on topic of it. If you've seen the proposed picture for the Dalymount Park, it's unbelievable, right? But what I look to do is, again, I mark this as I said, royalty football. So I looked up there. Tony Dunn, played for Manchester in 1960 to 1973, played over 400 times. Started off at Shelbourne, and it's years like that. But what I want to position Talca Park is the redeveloped Talca. It has to be a coliseum of football. So everywhere we go, you have to have this fucking stands, everything, graphics of the past, the old players, Tony Houlihan or fucking Tony Dunn even.
Tony Houlihan.
Don't mention that
name. Don't.
Tony Dunn. Tony fucking Dunn. I'd have graphics of Wes Houlihan around the place. I'd have images of their cup runs, their Champions League, UEFA Cups. I'd have everything. Like I wouldn't have a blank wall in the place. Just all of old graphics, and I think if you did it right, and like they might use an advertising and everything for that, but I completely abandon the advertising for that aspect of the ground. I'd have just the whole ground plastered in history. So when you enter into, you can see the history everywhere. You can see the players, what's happened in the past, and you can really get a sense of importance about the kind of stadium.
Yeah, I get that absolutely. I think it's something that needs to be done. Like if you're gonna build a new stadium for a club like Shelbourne or even with Bows, with Bows, I think it's always the follow the floodlights is the big one. But for me, it's more like whatever about having all this kind of stuff around the ground and things like that. But for me, it's more about looking at the view from the stand. Like the fan experience in the ground needs to be spot on. And for me, it's just not good enough at the moment. And again, like I say that being a Drogheda fan, where again it's not good enough at United Park. But in Talca Park, like the amount of times I've gone to Talca Park and the seats are covered in cobwebs. no matter where you sit in the ground, and again, I prefix this with it's the same in a lot of League of Ireland grounds. No matter where you sit in the ground, you're going to be blocked by a pole, and that pole is going to have floodlights on it, or that pole is going to be holding the stand up, and it's for me, it takes away from the experience because you can't see everything. When I go to Tala, no matter where I sit in the stand, unless there's someone sitting in front of me, I can see everything. Absolutely everything. It's the same when I go to Bray and stand over the far side from the opposite side from the dugouts. I think it's the same in Turner's Cross, the same in it's the same in Derry. No matter where you sit, you can see everything. And I think that's something that we need to sort out in every ground. Is like these poles that go up in the middle of the stand just need to go. It's a way of the past. It just takes it all away from me. Like it just takes me out of the game and makes me feel as though I'm nearly watching it in a pub or something behind the pillar. So it's for me it's something that needs to be looked at. If they're building new stadiums, there need to be something that you can actually see every aspect of the game from wherever you are.
I agree with Bill to like Coliseum sort of royalty you could with Shelbourne. But if you're thinking of it like Bill, do you know what you mean the Coliseum? Would you do you know the way you're like facing that? Would you keep maybe the iconic fucking the stand behind the net 2 yards wide the goalpost? Would you keep that in the same position? Would you keep everything the same and just like kind of build on and just modernize it, or would you expand it? Like, what way would you do that?
See, it's like, well, it's not really a relevant example, but it's like when you look at the war wars and the concentration camps, and like they're stuck with they're stuck between the rock and hard place between whether do you preserve it like and are you then putting homage to it, or just leave it go as is. I think there's going to be certain aspects of the ground that you can leave, you're going to have to leave as is, or you can recondition, repurpose. But like I think you can do that without taking away the character. So like you can keep your general whatever dimensions you want in the pitch and the different pitch of features. But like again, just like stuff Dave said there, there's no reason why you go into a football ground in 2022 and not have perfect view. There's no reason whatsoever. I'm not an architect, but like we have to like if we're getting people to from the bar into the stadium to watch a match, then they're going to have the view, or they might as well not be there anyway, and they're not going to come back. So it's about repurposing and reconditioning the things you can do while not getting rid of the crucial elements of the stadium or of its history. So like I think, as I said, the stuff I do kind of be more a homage to the history. So graphics and think of it as if you're going to like a football. If you've ever been to an English team's football museum, it should be like that. Should be like when you go into the stadium. There should be history everywhere, and just you can see the past while having the modern elements of a stadium. That makes no sense.
Would you have this like say for if you're walking in? Would it be against the walls, like walking up into the by the turnstile, or would that be like a wee museum inside the club? What way? Would you ever like publicly shown? Or would you have a wee like museum, like a tour sort of thing?
Well, again, on my 90 ideas thing, I said that, or my marketing ideas, I think I said one of them was that you should have like literally murals as you go into the ground. So like on the sides, so it should be when you enter into a certain place. So it's like when you're walking from the stadium, then it's like you enter into. It's like I was in Croatia a few months ago, and everywhere there's graphics for how they split. So like the teams everywhere apart the city. So what I'd have it as is literally you get to a certain point, 5K from the stadium, and it's just everything it's like a walkway into the stadium of different graphics, and it gets deeper and deeper as you get closer. So it starts off very subtle, then 2 kilometers away, it gets deeper and deeper, and then once you get to the stadium, just everywhere. So,
yeah, that does sound good. To be fair,
it will be pretty cool. Yeah, but see, sorry, Jack, just to come in there. I think it'll be a bit difficult, especially with the Dublin clubs. Like when you look at Shells and Bows are both within 5K of each other, and they're both in housing states. Same with Pats. Pats is literally just in the middle of a load of gaps. And it's the same with Dalymount. It's literally just in the middle of a load of gaffs. And Talca Park, I'm not sure, Bill, if you've ever been there, and I know, Jack, you have been.
Yeah.
It is literally, like, Richmond Road is literally just a road of houses. So for me, it would be more kind of have the mural on the outside of the ground. Like, Jack, you know where it's facing onto the little green outside of Clontarf Park where Drumcondra play?
Oh, yeah. Where you go to the away side.
Yeah, so for me, it will be on that wall from where the away end is
Just
all the way down
across
to the
no,
home end.
yeah.
Because there's three entrances into Talca Park, and they're all on the same side of the ground because the fact that the other side of the ground is on the River Talca. So you can't get into the ground from every angle. And it's worth mentioning as well, by the way, for anybody who thinks that we're talking about like, oh, we've this, that, and the other, like we're talking about how we should be competing with Premier League clubs at the stadiums and things like that. We don't think that at all. We're looking at Talca Park from a point of view of like it should be realistically, Shell should have a ground that holds 10,000 people. And every that should be Shells, Bows, and Rovers should all have a minimum of 10,000 seater stadiums, and not just for them, just for like all purpose where they can have like a rugby match there or an American football match there or anything.
Concerts.
Just yeah, exactly. Just have even a small concert with some unknown band playing outside. That kind of stuff. It's something that you need to see more of in the league, and like just bigger grounds and grounds that you can fit more people in, because we're starting to see an increase in the amount of people going to games. But for me, the mural, you could have it nearly going all the way down. Just have like you start off with
midget. Start up that way and walk it in.
Yeah, kind of.
That's the way I do it. Start up there with DT and then into it and road.
Yeah, and have it on like paint the post boxes with the Shell's colours, and like just all these different things where it's just subtle, as Bill said. Like Bill said it excellently there. Like he used some brilliant language there to say like a coliseum of football that's something I've never heard before, but it's something that it's fucking brilliant. Like
Ryan, this fellow's from Cork, not from England as well.
You need to
these big words, man.
You need to embed your football club in the community, whatever the radius or what the catchment area of your football club is, but it needs to be embedded in the community. You need to see it everywhere. It needs to be like it basically needs to be in your face, like.
You go to the Duck. Sorry.
Yeah,
so you
go
go
ahead.
to the Duck, right? You see, and I'm not even lying, right? I'm not sure, Dave. Have you been in the Duck much? Like you have been in a bit, haven't you?
Yeah. The missus family are all from there, so I'm up there on the regular.
You go in the Duck. You win. You would see more than Duck merchandise, and then Liverpool United.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's one thing I'll always say about the Dock is it's you see it no matter where you are. There's always a mural somewhere saying "Come on to town." There's black and white paint everywhere.
The Dock is probably the main example, but I think especially because Shelbourne, they're a bit out from the city centre. No, they're a bit out. Like they could actually do that.
20-minute walk. It's a 20-minute walk from Collins Street. Like it's not that far.
It's still enough out where you could do it like out that way, going out by Whitehall. That's what you could do, like all from there. Like,
well, the thing about Shells are the most eastern team in the north side of Dublin. So you look at the catchment area that they'd have, where like you have straight down to Fairview, Clontarf, Howth, Kilbarrack, Bayside, Edenmore, Raheny, Coolock, Artane, Beaumont, Marino. All these places are all within Shelbourne's reach. Like you can get to there fairly easily from there. So like, there's so many bus routes to pass it. You also have obviously we had Philip on from Forgotten Clubs there a few weeks ago. You have the likes of Swords, Gerrys, Rush, Lusk, Balbriggan. Like you're kind of going into competing with Drogheda and Bows territory up that way, but like you're looking at it saying you could get Swords, Malahide, all these different clubs could easily be like all these different areas could easily be kind of targeted by Shells as a come down and watch Shells play. You can get there easily. Like, it's on the dart line. It's on easily about 50 bus routes. From Richmond Road all the way through, and you could even go into the GA clubs nearly and try and get people in, try and poach people in. So it's something that I think Shells could do, and if they did it properly, you could really see a club just absolutely rise. And I hate saying this because I don't like Shelbourne, but you could really see the club rise if they did it properly off the pitch. Or if they went into like the amount of you've got Ross Mini, you've got even like you go not just talking about the lads, like you can go into like Dominican College, Maryfield, you go to Arts Reach where I went to school, School Wirral, which is a primary school. You go to all these schools around the area that, you know, go in there and give out free tickets. You know, say they're playing UCD, give out 1,000 free tickets. Just give out 1,000 free tickets. Go into the local schools, just give out 1,000 free tickets. Incentivize people to go to games, because the Drogheda did it a few months ago, where they promised during the pandemic, here's like everyone will get in for free to the first game back after the pandemic. Now they didn't get a proper chance to do it because obviously everything kind of gradually reopened. So the first game of this season, when everybody was allowed back in, bam, straight away, UCD at home, everyone gets a free ticket. It's free in for everybody. So you have to book a ticket online, free in, no bother. And that was done. Like they sold out in minutes. So it incentivized people to go. And we've had 3 or 4 sellouts since. Obviously 2 of them were against Dundalk, but you saw it, Sligo sold out. We had so many people going to games. We still have a really high crowd like retention as well. So it's something that I think that they could do, where they go maybe pick a school every week where they give out 100 free tickets, or they go play UCD or Finn Harps at home where you wouldn't have a traditionally big crowd, give out 1,000 free tickets. Just get people in the door, get them knowing what the league is like, and incentivize people to come back, because that's something that off the field, again, as we're talking about rebuilding the club, or Saviour Club as we're calling this series, is like just get people on, get bums on seats, and they'll stay. You see it this year with the amount of people that have stayed.
Yeah, I'll just go in there actually. I've known club now for my 6 months in college up in Dublin. I saw loads of Bose Dublin buses going around, and it's just the small things like that. I know they have a bit of a partnership now with the kid, but it's a small thing that they catch an eye of a kid or a parent, say even foreigners coming into the country or immigrants or whatever, coming in living refugees, and it'd be like this whole Bohemian bus. And then Bose obviously have the refugees welcome obviously last year. Like Bose are nearly the perfect example of a Dublin city club that are using like a club sort of community, like a local community, and they're doing it perfect. Like that's what Shelbourne can get to, like, because I feel like they have a lot of untapped potential. Like even whenever they won the first division in the last year.
Oh, they won at Cantor. I think they ended up. I think they were miles ahead. I think they won it with 4 or 5 games left.
Yeah, like they I don't know what they've done, but they could have went around every primary school within the half an hour, 40 minutes around, whatever the closest ones are. Go around with the trophy. Kids be going home to the parents, look, oh, I got to see a trophy, got to hold a trophy. Bang, you get some people going. Like it's not easy. It's not easy to catch, especially with the City, and there's more interest in Man United and Liverpool. Obviously,
they did it.
Everything Man United and Liverpool.
Yeah, they did it in like 2003, 2004 time when they were doing really well. Like I remember being in, because I went to school in Marino, just around the corner from Talca Park, and Johnny McDonald's son was actually in my class, and he was the assistant manager at the time. And they brought the trophy in. They used to come in and give out tickets to the class, and like it got people going. Like most of the lads I went to school with in primary school are now Shells Ultras. Like they go to games regularly. They go to every game home and away. And they also have a Sunday league team called the Shelbourne Supporters Club. So, you see that kind of stuff happening, and that's the type of stuff that you see improving the league, and it's great to see that's retain those fans. Like, I was in primary school 20 years ago. They're still going 20 years later. Like, so if you're incentivizing kids early, they'll pester their parents to go to games. And even like I saw Connor Howie put it up on Twitter the other day about the increased amount of young Drogheda fans that are staying behind outside United Park on a Friday night to see the Drogheda players coming out after they have their showers and things like that and do their media obligations. So, like, if you can start incentivizing kids to go to games, I mean, the sky's the limit then. Because then you're looking at more money coming in. You're looking at like potential investors. You can get more people coming in from outside the country that are saying, "Geez, this is an actual business venture. This is a real opportunity to improve or to invest in a organization. Get your tax credits down. Get your tax-free investment on things. It's something that they could easily do, and like it's so easy to do it that you just need to actually have someone that's willing to just get up off their arse and go and do it. And I think Shells needs to start doing that again.
Got any opinions on that?
I don't know. Again, on the topic of setting out, unless you're Cork City, like most League of Ireland teams, most League of Ireland teams don't set out their stadiums. So like, what's going to cost you to print a few hundred tickets, give them out to everyone, and just pack your stadium? Like, it might cost you a tenner to print out the tickets and distribute them. But like, what you're doing is you're literally, who is shuffling? You're literally giving, you're filling the stadium, and if you get even a 10% retention of all those people, then that's 10%. That's, we'll say, 100 new fans for our life, or 10% of whatever number comes in. So again, like, I think we're making excuses. We can't make excuses. It's like there's no reason why most League Ireland teams can't be getting top crowds, and it might take a bit of give at time for just giving away tickets for free, and maybe that is a bit disrespectful to people who pay every week. But again, I think people who pay every week and want to see where the league goes and improve the league will understand that that's the process that we have to do to start filling out stadiums. Unless you're Cork City, who don't have that problem.
Yeah,
but you just let your club die instead, though.
Yeah, exactly. When you had 10 chances at it as well. It was a bit time stuff, like.
Again, you're talking to the wrong Cork City fan if you want someone who cares about that.
We're just talking to a new Cork City fan who only knows Cork City instead of Cork United, Cork Hibs, Cork Bows, Cork FC.
My proper Cork City watching started in 2016, 2017.
Yeah. Why is that? Why is that? Because you're fucking winning.
Well, no, Sean Maguire for one. Number two, I went into college in 2017 then, and I was actually going to college with one of the team players. So that was
fair enough. Ooh, friends.
No, seriously, you need to talk a little bit more, man.
It's addictive.
I do agree though with that. That if you're not going to sell at your stadium, you may as well give away. Say every week. Say I'm just going to say right. I'm going to say the Dundalk 3,500 seats. Say if it's a small game against, say for Hawks' sake, Wexford was at home on a Friday and it's pissing or rain. It was bad weather. You go into schools, hand out 200, 300 tickets. You know you're not going to sell at Oriel Park. Hand them out for the terrace. Hand them out for just the ground. Stand behind the goals. Stand over beside the shed. Whatever. If you're not going to sell tickets, what's the point of leaving the store and just leaving empty seats?
Yeah.
Like, I know obviously you're down a few quid if someone buys them, but realistically, that one person could end up giving your club fucking thousands, like with these maybe merchandise, buses.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna return in the long run. Like I'll never forget Cork and Dundalk 2014. I think my primary school, anyways, I think they're giving it to every primary school, I'd imagine. So I think it was every class had 10 free tickets to that game. And that game was in demand. I think there was probably 8,000 4,000 stadium. But look, it made you like.
Hey, but you shuffling.
And look, how many people from then probably stayed.
So it's me.
On the topic of shuffling, we need new mics, which will sort.
But someone sponsored them.
One of our dozens of listeners sponsor us mics, please. Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead. No, like it's again, like I think Jack said it right there. Like, if they just go into clubs, into schools, or even colleges, get people involved, get people going to games, get them to, like I don't know why they don't do more. Like Dundalk could do it with Dundalk IT, Shells could do it with
the. They gave 100 for yesterday,
or like they could go into the college on a Friday in the middle of September or something, or Freshers Week or something like that. Like Bows could do it with IT Blanche, Shells could do it with DCU. Go in and just say, or Bows could do it with DIT and Grange Gorman as well, so it's across the road. Like, go in on a Thursday or a Friday and say, here's a challenge. If you do this, you get a free ticket for the game. And or like with clubs that have a bar in the ground, you do this, you get a free ticket to the game and a free pint. Or buy one get one free on points for the night if you come into if you go to the game. Like
That's
do
Like,
this challenge.
simple as like, yeah.
Yeah,
On
shave your
on
head, and you get 2-for-1 points for the night.
on the topic of bringing in crowds, see Cork City women did the other day. They got all the team players on the team, and in their warm up they wore their old grassroots jersey. Like, so the team they started off when they were 4 or 5, and then they invited all the grassroots clubs like the Blarneys, the Wiltons to come and watch them. Like, why can't
That's a
League Ireland
clever
do
way
something
of
like
doing
that? Get all your players in their hometown clubs jerseys. Get them to warm up in the jerseys and invite your hometown clubs there, because
That
then
wouldn't
you
work.
get stop shuffling. Then you're getting the players. You're getting kids watching their players in their old jerseys, same jerseys they're wearing, and they're saying, "Look, they're wearing my jersey. I can be there too sometime."
Yeah,
So
that only work though for like maybe like Dundalk wise. What you'd have Ryan going around the Rock Celtic kit off a Larkin kit, like, and you'd have Mayo going around the Glenmuir kit. Like, there's really two players from Dundalk compared to the senior team. Like,
yeah,
and about
it works better
25
in places
of
like Cork.
it just depends. Like, maybe for the women's football side, maybe
No,
it's
no,
more
no,
local based.
because it doesn't even have to be like, even if it's somewhere like, if someone came from Drogheda, invite the Drogheda club. Like, if you like,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
it. We do that every
I
week anyway, though.
yeah, like, don't, like, I wouldn't turn my nose at fans. Like, if someone from fucking Tipperary or Limerick or fucking Dundalk wants to come down to support Cork City, like, have at it. Like,
Yeah,
You
but
do
we
that every
we
week.
do
You
it.
don't need any more fans.
Yeah, but we do it every week anyway, where we invite a local club up and they get to play on the pitch at half time, and they
yeah, same. A lot of clubs that, to be fair.
yeah, so that also helps. That's something that does help, but it tends to be the same clubs every few weeks. Like, I don't know how many times we've seen like St. Kevin's boys playing at Dalymount, or I've seen
Yeah, to be
Drumcondra
fair,
playing
like,
at Tolka.
St. Kevin's boys are possibly the one team you wouldn't have to do it for. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But yeah, no, look, I think we've fixed shells here today anyway, lads.
Yeah, well, if anyone at Shells wants to get on to any of us, they come in for like just a future role, work away.
sorry, no, I'm actually pondering 2 or 3 offers from clubs at the moment, so
Any games?
Yeah, bit of exclusive.
I never got a game in my life, Dave.
But no, look, it's this has been like, actually, I really enjoyed recording this. It's actually a really insightful thing, and hearing like the other opinions and things. Because obviously, when it comes, like, a lot of these are with the League of Ireland clubs, like a one size fits all kind of model. Improve the ground, bring in better players, and fuck Damien Duff.
Yeah, fuck him enough. Yeah.
That kind of stuff, like that's just, it's a one size fits all kind of fix for most clubs in the league. So, but it's, yeah, like, I actually enjoyed it. Like, looking into the players, doing a bit of research and things like that is very good. And look, it's something that I think we could actually look at doing for any other clubs. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, let us know. It's been very insightful. What do you think, lads?
I'm still waiting for a club to partner with us, to be honest.
Yeah. So am I. Actually, Lorgan Celtic.
I try, yeah.
I see them actually interacting with the page a good bit.
Oh, how did they get on? How did
they
they get on in their cup final? What happened? Or their semi final? Did they win?
Yeah, they win it. So I have a plan for them for the final that we must do.
Oh, we invited
Oh,
up.
Where are they based?
Belfast. Oh,
Ah,
Lorgan.
Lurgan.
Make a trip.
They won their semi final, did they? They lost the weekend there.
They won the semi final anyway. They're in the final.
All right, but they lost the weekend. Not good enough. Not good enough, lads. Lurgan United is run to sort it out, boys. Come on.
Lorgan Celtic. You look at the team, right?
It's Lurgan United, no? Am I looking at the? I'm probably looking at the wrong
No,
team.
Lorgan Celtic.
Bill, edit that out there.
Definitely in cut.
No. Keep it in. Let them see. Oh, they won 5-0 at the. Well done, Lurgan Celtic legends. They won 5-0 at the weekend.
And if you got to the final, We won tickets. We'll come up and promote the fuck out of you.
Yeah, and I'll we'll get Jack will get flares and he'll strip and run on the pitch naked.
We have a plan. It's okay. We're
Or
working on it.
do we? Okay, grand.
Yeah, we do.
Right, we cut the last bit. That's all right.
It would be nice if we got invited to the plan, Bill. But yeah, look, lads, it's now 11:30 and I'm going to bed because I'm very tired. But it's been great recording. Really enjoyed being back after a 2-week hiatus. If you haven't already, please go back and listen to our episode with Killian Sheridan, who was very kind to give us up an hour of his time, and he was very insightful. Gave us a lot of information on his career and things like that. So if you have an hour spare, or even if you want to just listen to 15 minutes at a time, go back and listen to that if you can.
Yeah, sorry. Just there's an official Peilcast Twitter page now. It's at the Peilcast, THE Peilcast. Just give that a follow. That'll be the main page where everything will be going.
Jack is getting the sack if he doesn't get 100 followers, and that's soon. So
yeah, so just to save me and so Brian McNally doesn't have to
Jack's
work
job.
5 jobs. I'd appreciate that.
I heard he's being replaced by Aaron Howie. So
Who, me or him? Who? Blair or me?
You're being replaced by Aaron Howie.
Oh, well, fuck Aaron Howie as well. Howie.
Anyway, lads, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for coming on again, and we'll keep going. Up the Peilcast.
Good luck.
The Peilcast is massive. Sorry, I thought you said Dundalk. I just realised you said good luck. But yeah, the Peilcast is massive everywhere we go. Cheers,
Good
lads.
luck.
Good luck.
Bye.